Hey guys, welcome to Pellets and Pits. Today is all about a homemade cinnamon roll with maple, bourbon, and bacon. If you guys want to see how we make this, here we go. Alrighty, to get started, the idea behind the maple, bourbon, bacon, cinnamon rolls just sounded like an absolute phenomenal combination. But to get there, we gotta make cinnamon roll dough, also known as sweet dough. Made it 1,000 times in the Navy, probably one of my favorite doughs to make. Here we go. And to make this, we have about 110 to 115 degree, half cup water, half cup of milk, and 1 packet of dry yeast. Let that sit for about 10 minutes. While our yeast is blooming, we have some flour, all-purpose flour. To that, we got some salt and some nutmeg. You're going to have to give us a few. The last time I made this recipe was probably 10 years ago. And I don't know if there needs to be any adjustment since. So this is the last known recipe I've made. So if we do make it, it will be on the website, but you're just gonna have to give us a few minutes. So we have some sugar, some melted butter, some vanilla, and an egg yolk. Mix all that together. Stand, make sure it goes. You can see that our yeast is ready to go. In the pot that goes. Just for a couple seconds on low. And while that's going, we can add some of these butter mixture. All right, once all the ingredients are incorporated, takes a few seconds, then we will jump this joker up to about a medium, let it go for about 5 minutes, and then wrap it. And just like that, your dough should be done. So we're gonna take it out really quick because I'm just gonna go ahead and proof it in this bowl. No reason to dirty up another bowl. Here we're just gonna create a tight ball. So basically it's working it in and pulling it. So you're gonna go in and pull, in and pull. Just keep tucking, and that's how you get that tight seam. In the bowl it goes, just a hair more oil. All right, next step is we're gonna start the smoker up to get our bacon going. We'll let this go for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. All right, 1 pack of bacon. We put on a sheet tray, protected aluminum foil. You know the gist. Got a little Crown Royal. We're gonna use this kind of like as our glue. A little pastry brush.
And there is a cooling rack set on top of that.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to tell.
And we're just gonna liberally come here and do our best to just make the bacon a little bit wet because we're gonna candy the bacon. Now look at that. Now you couldn't ask for a better amount. Brown sugar and whiskey. Bourbon. Right up my alley. I don't think you need to go too heavy with the brown sugar. There's gonna be plenty of other places to incorporate some brown sugar and some sweetness throughout this dish. So, Traeger is on 365. And we're just looking basically to cook the bacon all the way through. Not a big deal. Once this is done, we'll pull off the heat. Alrighty, last like 15, 20 minutes, I turned that smoker up to about 400 degrees. You can see we got some nice bacon that is done. One thing of note, I'm gonna let this cool down. While it's cooling down, we can start rolling out our dough. All right, here we go. Our mixture, we have some unbleached pure cane sugar, which is like a third cup of light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Give that a mix. I don't know if we'll use it all, but this is a concoction that I like. I like the mixture of the brown mixed in with the white. Alrighty, about 1 hour, 15, hour, 20 minutes, something like that. Your dough should look something like that. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. Absolutely beautiful. Make sure everything's floured. Leave a little extra on the board.
And that is just all-purpose flour?
Yep. Looking for about 20 by 18 in a rectangle. I should be able to hit a rectangle a lot easier than I can a circle. If you notice when I let the dough out, I really don't punch the dough down or anything like that. When you use a rolling pin, you lose a lot of the gases and air anyways. So I'm just more gentle going this way than I am punching it down and overworking the dough. Just in case you're wondering, the snacking bacon, on point. What do we say?
I think you said 20 by 18.
All right, well, we're 13 by 17 and a half to 18. Give you an idea, good to go. It's fine, you'll never notice it. I didn't want to roll it out too thin, so that's what I came out with, okay? Oh, the butter, ah! All right, we have about a 1.5 stick of melted butter. Now, to me, the butter is melted too much. That's my fault, I forgot about it. So what we're gonna do is, we have our bacon over here. We're gonna cut that up. We're gonna add our butter and let it seize up a little bit. If you can hit that sweet spot of like, almost like to where your butter is not runny like it is now, but it starts seizing up, that's kind of like your sweet spot. So what we're gonna do is just really put this butter all over here. You don't have to go all the way to the edge where you roll it up, because the ingredients will kind of come out. But if you notice, I like a thick layer of butter. I'm gonna do a small dice on the bacon. This is not a rough chop. I know it looks like a rough chop, but let me get there. Because you're gonna have to cut through your cinnamon rolls, and you don't want large chunks of bacon to mess up your cinnamon rolls. Honestly, it's gonna matter if it's super crispy or not, because the overnight rest is gonna soften up the bacon anyways. Don't be shy on your sugar and cinnamon mix. After all, it is a cinnamon roll. Because I actually like to come back and dust mine when they're cut with just a little bit more. That bacon evenly distributed. All right, so maple syrup, and this is gonna get a light drizzle as well, just to incorporate those flavors, not a lot. You don't want this wet. And then to top everything off, the main ingredient.
I don't know about that crunchy piece of bacon is calling my name. God, that's good bacon.
Same thing with the syrup, you don't wanna overdo this. So,
You mean that's the bourbon?
yeah.
Whiskey.
What did I say?
Syrup.
No, I said, oh, I don't know what I said, but you don't want to overdo it. So maybe about a tablespoon sprinkled out. Between that and the syrup, it can get away from you in a hurry, so you got to have restraint. Simple, let's roll it up. It's a secret not many of them want to tell you. Just a light dusting of flour creates a glue, creates that, like, what do you call it? You know, that thickness inside of it, but you can't go thick. Something like that. All right, get it started, try to make it even. Work your edges out. You're gonna make sure this is tight. It's almost like a, how do I describe this? So you're gonna pull back for tightness and roll. Pull back and roll, pull back and roll, pull back and roll. I don't know really how to explain it. And what you're doing, you're just creating a tight seam all the way through there.
So did you make homemade cinnamon rolls often in the Navy?
Yeah, so the general mess, like fully loaded with 3,000, but then the general mess, you're so busy, you have a bake shop separate. So you could either do your time in the galley or do time in the bake shop. Obviously the bake shop provided anything baked, along with like more oven capacity just in case the galley needed it. Depends on what's going on. The higher you move up, the smaller your kitchens get, but the less amount of people you feed. So once I went to the chief's mess, probably like 300 to 500, then you're looking at like you did everything. So if we had cheesesteaks that day, not only do we have to make our sweet doughs for the morning, we had to make doughs for like individual hoagie rolls. We do everything from cinnamon rolls. The sweet dough was kind of the bear claws, donuts, you name it. So the higher up you got, the more you did, and you did everything. There was no help at all. Wardroom was the same way. See, I'm tapping in those edges, just kind of working your dough, trying to make it uniform, squeezing it if you need to stretch it. Watch what happens. See how you're tapping it back in? Then on this back side, you just want to come back and crimp. Kind of seals that edge. Easiest way to do it is always cut everything in half. So eyeballing it in half, eyeballing it in half. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Got it? So half, half, half. And then now they're going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that makes 3 pieces. You understand?
Yep.
All right. Rework it if you need to. You want equal pieces. So you're just looking at it. So there's the half, right? So you cut that in half. And that one in half. I like to put the small one in the middle. So there's half. Leave some space. Well, we'll have to tuck that one in right there. Alrighty, last but not least, just a little butter over top because you didn't have enough the first time.
Brown sugar, regular sugar, and cinnamon.
Yep. Notice how that extra seasoning's falling in the sheet tray as well. That's going to help you. All right. Cover this in plastic wrap in the refrigerator overnight, and then we'll start the smoker back up tomorrow. It is the next day. Our Traeger is up to about 365 degrees. We've had this sitting out on the countertop for about an hour and a half to come up to room temperature. It helps proof it up a little bit. See, we got some nice air gaps in there. That's what we need because you need space for it to expand. And there we go. On the smoker it goes. Maybe 25, 35, 40 minutes, something like that. Alrighty, sneak a peek. 35 minutes later, voila. Ooh, them things look good. All right, it's important to let them cool. Obviously, you're dealing with sugars and stuff like that. Plus, I'm a big fan of like a little bit more like not runny icing. So that glaze that we made is kind of like a cross between the icing and the glaze. So let's let these cool down. Then we'll frost it, top it with bacon, and it should be pretty close to testing out. Half a block of cream cheese, half a stick of butter, 2 cups powdered sugar, half of a tablespoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of bourbon. You gotta be careful. As much as you want the bourbon, it's really just the afterthought. You can't make this too runny. And then probably 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And from there, we're just gonna incorporate all the ingredients. That is a long time to wait for those bad boys to cool down. But you know you've got to. So there's that leftover bacon, roughly like 5 strips of bacon. The rest of it went to our stomachs.
The bacon itself is just amazing.
This is just room temperature. It's not hot, it's not cold.
So we refrigerated the leftovers overnight.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna do a small dice on this. You just wanna make sure your bacon's small enough where you bite into it. You're not like taking off a chunk of bacon. Here's our frosting slash glaze. 2 tablespoons, kind of like that. Woo, gonna get close. I almost guessed. Gonna get close.
Almost like you know what you're doing.
Look at that. That ain't bad. Obviously, if you wanted your frosting a lot thicker, more like an icing instead of like a frosting glaze, you know, just add a little bit more powdered sugar. Just using an offset spatula. You can use a butter knife. You can use your fingers. I don't care. Just get that icing worked around there. Cause that icing is going to act like your glue. I just went to the doctor this morning before we did this video. I did not tell him we're making this. Maple bourbon bacon homemade cinnamon rolls on a pellet grill. Yes, it can be done. Pellet grills are used more than just barbecue. People make fun all the time for being a easy bake oven. Why not? Why not bake in it? Because you can come out with fantastic ideas like this. All right, guys, there you go. That is some homemade cinnamon rolls 101. Now listen, if you don't want the bourbon, you don't want the bacon, you don't want the maple, you don't want any of that stuff, that's fine. The cinnamon roll is a sweet dough at its base, and then the brown sugar, you can always play with the recipe as you see fit. But the sweet dough recipe is on point. So, how you want to do this? Look at that crispy bottom. I love that. Where that butter and sugar kind of like just drop. We're going to put the whole thing out there.
Well, no.
You think 3 or 4 is going to be enough for us?
I'm only...
You're only going to what?
I'm only
You want to make a bet?
one.
You want to make a bet? Are we going to eat it right now?
Well, we got to try it.
I know one thing. The icing was probably one of the better icings I've made like this.
Yes.
The addition of the bourbon.
The icing is perfect.
I don't know if you want to see the inside of it.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know how.
Turn it this way. You know it's good, people. Look at his face. Here, turn it. Let me see.
You can't see enough of it. I'll take care of that.
My bite.
You know what's hidden in the whole thing? Bacon. It's not near as prominent as what you think the bacon would be.
Mm-hmm.
So let me show you. You got your layers here. The dough's nice and flaky. The nutmeg adds a little substance to it, so it's not just all cinnamon and sugar. I like the addition of brown sugar and regular sugar when I make my cinnamon rolls versus just white sugar and cinnamon.
We're gonna kill one right now, huh?
I mean, this is breakfast of champions. You have your milk, your dairy, your protein,
Protein.
your carbs. I love those little bits. I absolutely love those little bits. All right, guys, there you go. So like I said, I haven't made this sweet dough in, 10, 12, 14 years. I wouldn't change it. It's still just as good as it was day one. It's fantastic. It's everything I like in a dough. Flaky, buttery. I mean, I can go on and on. That's what cooking's all about. I absolutely love what I do. Thank you so much for this journey. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, pound the notification button, share it with your friends. I'm thinking about a brownie. I love bourbon. I love cooking with bourbon too. A bourbon brownie. What do we call it? Pecan pie. Yeah. However we're going to word it. I've done it before last year for a family get together, and it was the talk of the show. So we're thinking about putting it on the pellet smoker and see how it goes. So if you guys are interested in that, comment down below, because without you guys, we kind of like run thin on ideas, and you guys give us tons of ideas. See you next time.